All right, looks like we are finally live. Sorry for the delay. I wanted to do this a little bit earlier, but things came up. But we're doing it now, 7 o'clock at night. I got a couple of my buddies with me to go over the Xbox Gamescom stuff, the good, the bad, well, in my opinion, mostly bad. I have my really good friend Tim Dog with me, the one and only. What's going on, Timmy?
How you doing? Happy to be here. It's like the old days hearing your voice on a podcast. Happy to be here.
Yeah. I'm glad to have you because, there's a lot to talk about, I have a feeling like you might be a little more positive than me, but some of the show was a little bit...
cringy?
He's starting already. He's starting already.
Yeah.
Well, speak your mind,
Yeah.
You got to speak the truth of how you feel,
And the other voice you guys hear is one of my good friends, the one, the only, Love Boat Gopher. What's going on, Love Boat?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me on. Live from Niagara Falls, Ontario. Great to be here.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right. So I was asked earlier today, really? All right. I was asked earlier today what I thought about Xbox, the whole show, right? And I summed it up very simply with one sentence. I expected nothing, and I got nothing. And that pretty much sums up what I thought of the show. When I did my prediction video about Gamescom, I had a tough time thinking of things they could show because they weren't going to show anything new. We obviously knew that, right? So it was incredibly hard. And honestly, I don't think that the entire show was even needed whatsoever. It all could have been articles posted on Xbox Wire. I almost feel, and this is going to sound a little bit rough, I hope a lot of the Xbox people, if they're listening to this, don't take this the wrong way. I kind of almost feel this was a waste of time. Or at least a waste of my time. You know what I mean?
I thought you were going to take it easy on them a little.
No, I honestly, but let's go into
really
it.
Honest.
It's not all bad. There's a couple things here that were, all right, that were fine. There's a couple things here that were good. Yeah. So the first thing they kind of taught when they started was 7 world premiere trailers, right? So initially you're thinking, holy crap, 7 world premiere trailers. Are we going to get like some new content, some new games? And I was in the party, I was talking to my friends and stuff, and everyone's like, oh, maybe this will be worth watching. Because we knew the pre-orders were coming, and we kind of figured that, they're going to come at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And they were like holding that ransom for us to watch the entire show. Like, we got pre-orders coming, but it's going to be the very end. So it's like, all right, what do you have to show for these world premiere trailers or whatever? And what was the first one they showed? Assassin's Creed. They showed an actually really cool looking CGI trailer for Assassin's Creed. Now, Tim, Gopher, are you guys excited for Assassin's Creed? You're gonna get it on the X?
I was with Tim at the FanFest event when we all got to play Assassin's Creed there, and honestly, at least for me, that was the standout game of the entire E3 show, at least for me personally. I've never been that big of a Creed fan. The series has kind of been a bit lackluster for me, but the new combat system that they got, the new Dark Souls-esque mechanics, the stealth, and it just looked gorgeous. And I mean, it was a CGI trailer. One thing that Ubisoft has shown is that they're really good at making these awesome looking CGI trailers. But I mean, I've got high hopes for the game, and I think it's gonna look great on the X.
Tim, what do you think about Assassin's Creed?
I agree. I think that this is a marketing deal that kind of that they kind of fell in their hands a little. Assassin's Creed used to be pretty big. And there's my dog. I'm sorry about that. She probably sees something.
He's just excited that you were able to get all your pre-orders in, Tim, for the
Yes, that was my main thing. But for the overall trailer. I thought the trailer was fantastic, really good, music good. Even though it's CGI, you kind of get the idea. But yeah, the game and some of the stuff that I've seen on it, and I really feel like that this game is going to do really good. I think it's going to be one of their strongest third-party marketing deals that they had in a while. So I think that, and I think it helps that it's going to be on X, playing on X, because it's a gorgeous game. So I'm really excited about it. So for that, I'm on the team Assassin's Creed. I think it's going to do very well.
Yeah, I think that Assassin's Creed is probably going to make a good comeback. But so they started off, I liked the trailer, and then we got PUBG. Now, in my prediction video, I said we'd get a release date for this. We did not get one other than, look, by the end of the year. So I have a feeling it'll be December. They announced 8 million copies sold, which is incredible considering it was like 7 million copies sold, a couple days ago. But the big news is that Microsoft is now publishing the game on Xbox. And this kind of opened up a whole can of worms on Twitter, on NeoGAF, everywhere else. People want to know, is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds exclusive forever to Xbox? Or is it one of those Rise of the Tomb Raider situations where Microsoft published it, but then it only was exclusive for a year, right? Now, I think from the wording on the PR, is just from the fact that they didn't come out and say that, just how weird it's worded on the PR, like in the article, that it's exclusive for now, and it'll eventually come to PlayStation 4 later on. Like, it's really worded weirdly in a way that would make you that they want to get across that it's exclusive now, but not a true exclusive. Do you disagree? Do you agree, Tim? I know you guys were talking about this earlier tonight. It seemed like a hot topic. Right. Is PUB a true exclusive to Xbox, or is PUB just one of these kind of timed exclusives because of the game preview stuff?
Well, I think the partnership means something. So I think that they have a talking relationship right now. I think that the developer has a goal of making. Now this is just my my guess, but some of the comments they've made in articles and stuff, that they want to make console and PC a level playing ground somehow, or make it where they really can compete against each other in a competitive way. I think that they see a big opportunity in that, having both the platforms. So I think that they're pretty big on the platform idea. And as weird as it might sound, the Sony's policy of not having cross-play could actually hurt them with this game, in my opinion, if it bears out the same way. So I think they're going to make it work. They're going to make it work well with the PC, and they have a working relationship. But I think they have the door open for the PlayStation 4 exclusive. But I don't think that there's a time frame on that right now. I think that they kind of are. I read the PR too, and you're right, they didn't, but they are working together here. They are doing some type of thing. So for me, I feel it's more of an exclusive than Tomb Raider. At least I felt like that could, I didn't feel the same way. I feel like this one could just kind of grow into a partnership, or maybe be a Titanfall deal where they make another game and they just leave this exclusive, but another game is like PUBG 2. Right.
Gopher, what do you think? I know, because Gopher plays PUBG all the time.
All day.
So, yeah, all day. He gets plenty of chicken dinners.
Plenty. Well, I thought it was actually funny, and we were actually laughing a bit, like during the actual conference, because just the other night we were talking about the sales figures. And a good friend of ours, Mr. Black Magic, he was like, "Yeah, 7 million copies. What does that mean?" And then right in the middle of this conference, they say, "Well, now it's 8 million," and we're all just going like, "Jesus, this game's unstoppable! Like the popularity of this game is just out of control." Now, in terms of this publishing deal, I mean, while I really, really, really think that it is a missed opportunity that they don't have this as a console exclusive to the Xbox, I don't think that's the case. Honestly, I really just think that this is a means for Xbox to speed the port.
Uh-oh, did we lose Gopher?
Yeah, but I think he was going to say it speed the port up, which is true. Basically, help it along. You probably have to sign back in and sign back out. Go.
Yeah, I agree. They're doing something special with the game. Microsoft is going in big and stuff, and they're probably going to give them marketing money or money to help get that version up and running. I expect that it'll come to PlayStation down the road, whether that's a year from now. I mean, look at We Happy Few. People were kind of freaking out that We Happy Few is going to PlayStation, even though it was never announced as an Xbox exclusive, right? But by the time it does go to PlayStation in April, it's already been exclusive to Xbox for over a year and a half at that point.
Yeah.
Most people don't care about late points. You know what I mean? So PUBG is a phenomenon. Yeah, PUBG is an absolute phenomenon on PC. The only thing is I wonder is that going to translate to a phenomenon on console? Because I think it needs to run well. I think the servers need to work. It needs to look decent. But I think even the bigger thing is that game needs a good release date. I don't think you can release that during November alongside all those other games.
Do December.
Yeah, it's
when they say late, it's December. And it could be freaking December 22nd for all we know. They're going to take as much time, but I look at the trailer, and you definitely see why that game can be so fun. So I think that with Xbox, it's going to do well. I don't see it just hitting console. It's so big at this point, where how could it just come to a console and not be appreciated? I mean, I've watched the streams. I've watched plenty. Do they get boring after a while? Yeah, you like anything else, you're watching it, but overall, though, you could see playing that game with a team, and you're in like a runaway car, like there was on the trailer. They were like shooting back at each other, and then you could have somebody smash you from the front. Like the battle royale, they nail that aspect with this game, and I just think that it's going to have some legs to it. But will it get? The question is, will it get stale, and when will that be?
Someone asked me in chat that if I'm happy Microsoft bought PUBG instead of making their own game. No. I really don't have that much interest in PUBG. I'd rather see more first-party games from Microsoft. So if like them signing PUBG precluded them from making a new game, then I wouldn't be happy about that. But I'm not necessarily sure that's what it means. But look, PUBG is not my type of game. You guys all know what type of game I like, and PUBG isn't it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is going to be. People are going to talk about this, Tim. You know it. This whole exclusive thing for a while. It's going to go on and on. And
there'll be threats and stuff
unless
like that.
they're still working out on details, and we find out next year, we did work it out, and it's never coming to PlayStation. But whatever. But say that's enough for the PUBG stuff. Then they showed a trailer for Jurassic World Evolution, one of the world premiere trailers. And it looks a lot like Zoo Tycoon, but Jurassic World style. So I thought that was kind of cool. It's not exclusive.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's coming to PS4. It's coming to Xbox PC. It's going to probably launch around the same time as the movie. The game, and Zoo Tycoon was a pretty cool game. I played it at launch. It's a fine game. This game probably is going to do pretty well. I mean, come on. I want to have my own kind of farm or my own show with the Tyrannosaurus Rex. That seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that was that.
I would play that game too. It looks cool. It looks like it's fun, and the Jurassic Park is. How could you not go wrong with dinosaurs?
Yeah, exactly. How could you not go wrong with that? But then we get up to the segment that a lot of people are kind of have issues with, and that was the part with I know already. With Aaron Greenberg and Shannon, right? Because what's funny, when we were watching the show, right? We all laughed at the idea. We all laughed at them putting the bowl with all the controllers inside, they're candy. Did you see that, Tim?
No.
I remember DOA was laughing, look at this. They put the controllers in the thing. So anyways, Aaron and Shannon get on, and it was a really long segment.
Yeah.
And before we get into what is in there, I want to talk about what is not there and what people have been waiting for since E3. the show that you don't get a million gamer score by being afraid of it. I played my plenty of multiplayer games in my life. I prefer single player stuff. That's just me. But what I'm saying is the game that was conspicuously absent from Gamescom, the game that everybody said, wait to Gamescom to see the multiplayer destruction, didn't even bother showing up. Crackdown was nowhere to be found. Tim, was that a mistake? Not kind of hiding away from all that? We know Crackdown just got delayed. They didn't even bother showing it during the live stream.
You know what? I honestly think that it was probably smart. I mean, I think that they don't listen. I think if it was ready, that they would, but I don't think it's ready. I think that they're coming in hot with the multiplayer. I think there's issues, unforeseen issues. Do I think that that's going to equate to a cancellation? No, but I do think that they're not there where they could put it out there and not have a crash or something. And right now, the toxicity level or everything that's swirling around on Crackdown 3, it might, unless they could have nailed it, if they couldn't guarantee nail that, they couldn't put it up, in my opinion. I think it was smarter for them to just kind of, grin and bear it at that point. And, obviously it was talked about and, and everything that went on, but they had a grin and bear it there, and I can get why they didn't show it.
Yeah, and I had heard, you had heard that they were thinking about splitting the game up, launching the multiplayer next year, and launching the single player this year. I thought it was a good idea to delay the game so they can launch it together. It's just weird by its absence. Like, I would have at least thought you could show some of the multiplayer destruction to maybe get people more on board with the idea of that, but they didn't, which almost leads me to believe it's not going to come out in spring of next year. I have a theory that game is coming out. Yeah, that game is going to be a holiday release. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just have this feeling.
I have the same feeling. I had the same feeling. It's funny because when it happened, I told people, I said, just people I was talking to, nobody worth to know, but I was like, delay it if you have to freaking to the holiday, because you have to make sure it's right. You have to handle it with kid gloves. And I think that they learned when they didn't handle it with kid gloves and they just threw it out there that it was a mitigated disaster or possible. So right now, I think you got to stay away from the game and you got to show it in the best light and, be as impressive as you kind of promised. I mean, we've seen things, people said these things, and it's amazing. Unless we were smoke and mirrors, and that demo that we saw in 2015 was not part of the engine. It was like a fucking mock-up. I don't know. If this game gets canceled, that would be the possible dagger, or one of the, that would be a huge hit for the core. But with that being said, I don't see the game getting I just see maybe getting delayed again to the holiday. And for me, personally, that I think that they just got to get it right, and they got to make it where it's playable. Even when it launches next year, probably you're gonna have people saying that they dropped and fuck this and this game sucks. I could see that. I could see that stuff happen. But I do think that they could have an experience where you never really seen something like that too, like exploding stuff, and you could have some crazy games too. So let's wait and see.
Yeah, so this is where they announced some of the enhanced games. It was a lot of marketing speak, because that's what Greenlight's job is. It's a lot of marketing stuff. But Quantum Break is getting enhanced for 4K, which is great. It's a game I didn't think would get enhanced at all, considering they're off doing their own stuff. So that's cool for those of you who haven't played Quantum Break. If you wanted to play it on the X, that's great. There's a list of 100 and some odd games that are getting enhanced for the X on Major Nelson's website. A lot of them. I might even do a video about that by itself tomorrow. Record Definitive Edition. It's coming August 29th. It's got a new bot, kind of the new area. It's got HDR, high-res textures. Biggest thing, of course, is it's free for people who own it, which is great because you don't want people to rebuy all that stuff. They kind of made it a little bit more a bigger deal than I really think Record is. Like they kind of like, oh, and here's a surprise, Record. Like I was just kind of like, well, it's a definitive edition of a game that came out last year. I don't, You know,
yeah.
But I mean, it's good that they're giving it for free. So if you bought Recore, right, Rise of Nations, they also said will crossplay with Windows 10 and Steam, which is cool. So we might see more crossplay stuff between Windows and Steam that might bode well for like Killer Instinct in the future. And then we get to this part here, which I just put my hand in my head and I just shook my head, dude. Like I couldn't believe it. DOA was laughing. Everybody was laughing in the party. Disneyland Adventures and like Pixar Rush and Zoo Tycoon are getting remade or remastered for Xbox One. I didn't understand this. Two of those games, or actually three, two of those games were Kinect only, Disneyland Adventures and Pixar Rush game. I just didn't understand that. I didn't understand the thought process behind this whatsoever. I know they are adding controller support to it, but like, what people want from Microsoft is something new. They don't want Disneyland Adventures or Pixar Rush Kinect-only games from the 360 remastered on the One. They don't want that.
Yeah. Well, I think that was filler, in my opinion. I think that we talked about the show was maybe too long, and they could have definitely used the better off saying nothing in that case. That was kind of a what the fuck moment. But on the flip side, I do think that they are trying to sell to a family-oriented base too in some aspects, especially with the console, the Gears of War. The Minecraft console. So I think that was just like a play for the family, and it just doesn't come well off with hardcore gamers. Yeah. We're just going to look at it and be like, I mean, I was on a previous show and everyone was like, what the hell was that? Hardcore gamers don't like that stuff.
I know, and Stefan says those games aren't aimed at you, Rand, and I understand that they aren't, but they definitely aren't aimed at people watching the Gamescom thing. Like, Microsoft doesn't have to announce that Disneyland Adventures and Kinect Rush are coming in a Gamescom reveal. Yes, it's for the kids. But those people that would buy those games aren't watching the stream in the first place. There's no reason to have those games during the stream because the audience that would buy them aren't watching it. So what's the point? It's like Tim said, it's filler. This whole conference was basically just filler.
Except for PUBG. I think if they didn't have PUBG, I would be... See, the PUBG announcement for me was good enough. Not good enough to be competitive, but good enough to get a 7 out of 10 for the conference or just to pass. If they did not have that, then it would be an unmitigated disaster. It would be hard to defend that because they would be losing the Crackdown 3. And I do think that the pre-order hype helped the whole show. But
that's why people watch.
They really should have went with the one show. I feel like you're going to go on, but I feel like some of the show recouped itself after, especially the Cuphead skit, which we'll talk ahead.
Yeah, I see. Gopher has rejoined us. And he has his mic.
Yes, I am back. Sorry, we've been having these crazy rolling blackouts all day. So of course, the one time I didn't need it to happen was right in the middle of the podcast. I apologize for that. But
so we were just talking about Disneyland Adventures and Pixar Rush coming to Xbox One remastered Kinect games. What do you think?
Honestly, the second they even mentioned those games, I started having like these Vietnam flashbacks to those that infamous Kinect presentation. Yeah, the Kinect presentation at E3. What year was that, Tim? You probably know.
2011, 12. Well, there was a couple. Yeah. The Usher one was the worst, I think.
Yeah, Connectimals. Yeah, that's what I said.
That was pretty good idea.
Definitely. Just hearing what you were saying, Ren. That's not something that they should have brought up during the Gamescom presentation. I mean, that's something you could have made that into a tweet, and people would have been just as interested in it. Yeah. No, it was filler. It was 100% filler.
And that's kind of my whole point about this conference is most of the stuff could have been 5-minute videos on YouTube or an article on Xbox Wire, but they like made it out to this, like they wanted people to watch this because of the pre-order stuff at the end of the podcast. And I'm just like, I don't know, like none of this stuff was, I mean, some of it's interesting. And one of the best parts coming up here in a minute, which I thought was really cool. But so yeah, Disneyland Adventures, Pixar Rush, Super Lucky's Tale they showed off. I mean, game looks cool. We'll see if it's actually any good when it comes out. Then they talked about the Halo Wars 2 Awakening the Nightmare DLC. I mean, it's nice that Halo Wars 2 is still getting some love. It was a really cool game. I know a lot of people didn't play it because it's an RTS. And then they talk about having over 100 titles in X enhanced. But then they get into Forza 7, and they didn't really show a new trailer. They didn't really show any new footage, which was disappointing. That was because this basically was just E3 remastered, but not done as well. Like the whole
not in 4K.
Like
it wasn't in 4K. It's true.
Yeah.
Well, not just E3 remastered, but it was literally E3 recut. We basically for a lot of these games, we just got recut kind of versions of the trailers that we saw at E3 that were kind of jumbled together a bit differently with some parts missing. We were like, haven't we seen this stuff before? And we're like, yeah.
Definitely could have done an hour show. I think that would have helped it a lot. I mean,
or 45 minutes. I mean, that's the thing though. Like none of us were expecting anything out of this. So our expectation, I mean, I could imagine. Can you imagine how bad someone must feel if they were expecting megatons, Tim, out of this?
Yeah, there are people that are like that. It's just, I mean, listen, a couple of years back, I used to be like that. I just think that at this point we have such an understanding of the Microsoft business and the industry and what's going on that you just know that, like, aside from like really something on the spur of the moment, you kind of know. Like me and you were talking the pre-freaking show. We basically predicted the whole show to a T.
Yep, pretty much.
I even said they're gonna have a controller segment, and they did. Like it was like we pretty much knew the whole show. So I mean that was where we went into it. I just was for me. The only thing that I was not concrete on was the PUBG. I kind of thought maybe that there was a possibility that they could do something, but with that was kind of the surprise for me, was that they kind of got more of an exclusivity than I thought they would.
Yeah, and but they did mention there was a couple interesting things during the Forza thing. Mainly, they said that Forza has 5 million monthly players, so it's doing well. People are playing Forza. I think I even heard that Gears has 6.1 million players a month or something like that. I don't know if I maybe misheard that or something, but I don't know. Either way. And then a friend of the show, Mike Ibarra, went on the podcast, or went on the stream, and probably one of the coolest things they showed off, honestly, I thought this was really cool. Probably the only thing that was really new outside of a couple other things, and one of the things that didn't leak, was the transferring data over the network.
Yeah,
definitely.
That was really cool. Like, I didn't expect that. It seems to be pretty easy. You could like transfer the stuff in preparation. Of course, I have most of my stuff on external, so I can just kind of plug that stuff in. But what'd you think about that?
I just to go off what you were saying, I think it's important to say that there was a caveat to it. He did mention about the 100 enhanced games that you would be able to download some of these enhancements ahead of time, but he did say in some cases. So we don't know exactly how many of these games are going to be ready to go at the launch of the X. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, anything that kind of streamlines it and makes this transition easier, I mean, it's a positive. I mean, I think he outlined it really, really well. He made it sound easy, and sounds good to me.
Yeah, it seems like Microsoft, well, they do have an extra year. It seems like Microsoft was more ready for the X than Sony was for the Pro. And this kind of stuff goes along with it. So the transferring data thing is really cool. They talked more about the new dashboard, and they showed off the light mode. But I'm a dark mode user, so like
I like the light mode, man. I'm into that light mode.
I know you are, but I'm keeping. I got dark mode on my Twitter. I got dark mode on my YouTube. I mean, I'll try to. Maybe I'll screw around with this. And I see a question asked, which I should talk about. Rand, do you think they should fire Shannon Loftus? No. I'm not in position to know anything that goes on within Microsoft. I don't know if she's doing a good job or a bad job. I don't know if she's doing the best she can with what she has to work with. We're all just kind of making assumptions going forward. So do I think anybody should be fired? I don't know. That's to them. Microsoft will fire people if you're not producing. So I don't know. I'm going to say no because I don't know. I don't have all the details, and that's kind of like the way I kind of see it.
Yeah,
It's my thought on it. So, but I see that kind of people going at that idea. Like I would never call for somebody not to be fired. So
yeah, well, listen, when you're losing and you have bad news all the time, it's just the same thing. People call for people's heads. In this case, I think that it's stupid to say her because I think she does good with what she's given with. I mean, if there were a boatload of money, there would be more results. So that's just the bottom line. You look at everything what Microsoft does now. They're like not, investing in a lot of third-party marketing. They try to stay away from this, closing studios. They've done a lot of things that, indicate they are not, free throwing money around. So obviously, if she has a $15 million, whatever the money budget that she can make phone calls. But to me, I think that big type games are done at Phil's level still, in my opinion. And then, obviously she handles it. They work and work it together. But I think big stuff comes from the head. But that's just my guess. I have no idea. It could originate from her. But for me, my feeling is that it starts through Phil.
Yeah. Gopher, you want to say anything about that or?
You know what? The amount of stupid videos that I've had to see, in my recommended tab that say, why Xbox should fire Phil Spencer and all this crap in the wake of Crackdown 3. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Xbox has had to make some tough choices recently. I think they're going in the right direction. Most of this stuff, it's the developer side. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to, and that's what a lot of people really need to realize that sometimes it's out of their hands essentially.
Right. And I mean, Greenberg did say something which made me like shake my head too, where he said, we're hitting Xbox fans with all these exclusives or whatever he said, which I was just like,
well, I mean, listen, and I know McCaffrey put him on blast for that.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
he put him on blast for that. But I think Aaron's the Microsoft guy. And he's trying to paint the.
Well, yeah, he's PR. He's got to put Microsoft in a good light. But like, I mean, Tim, you agreed with me. This is the worst year for Xbox software-wise, exclusive-wise.
This year, like, it's been hard to market. So Aaron's not. If you have you're only as good as your marketing is what you have. I'm sure if he Microsoft had a ton of shit, he would be able to do it better. But right now, yeah, I think it's 2017 was a real. It was up to this point, it's been a step behind. When you're losing as bad as they're losing in dominated areas that they had owned, when you're losing under 100K at this time, or E3, you're getting almost sold 2-1. That's alarming. That's a red flag. And if you don't, try to find out where the red flag is coming from or where the fire is, it's just gonna get worse. But for the flip side is that X is coming, and I think that even all of Xbox and just even a lot of the fans are expecting for it to kind of change its ways, because 2017 right now has been really rough at this point. Just overall everything from start to even today. When we're talking about this type of stuff.
So after that, they went to State of Decay 2. They showed a Recut trailer, hashtag Xbox Gamescom E3 Recut. It was the same trailer. They had the guy up there to talk about it. I kind of snoozed, I ain't gonna lie. They showed off World of Tanks War Stories. It's like, dude, World of Tanks.
That was bad.
Okay.
This is a European game show, and the game is huge in Europe. I mean, so many of my Russian friends and my Ukrainian friends. I mean, that's all these guys play is World of Tanks for some reason. But I mean, I get it. But I mean, it was kind of lackluster.
That was when it was really like, at that point I felt like we'll go over it, but I felt like that was like it was really going downhill at that point when I saw that. I was watching the YouTube comments and everyone would just be putting Z's like sleeping, like just be like a constant amount of that. I was just like, oh wow.
Well, I think where it went downhill was when we realized that World of Tanks trailer was one of the premier quote unquote premier
premieres. It's like, no. no.
I was like, I remember this news in March. Like, what the hell?
We're sitting there counting on our fingers, going, "Wait, so does this one count? Does this one count as one of the premieres?" Oh,
that was it was at a spearhead down at that point for me.
Yeah, that definitely it was just like it was like man. Then they talked about more of the arena stuff, which I think like custom
Nobody cares about. Yeah,
it's like then we get more controller stuff. They're expanding an Xbox Design Lab, which I think is a really cool thing. They're expanding it to 20 more countries. Xbox releases a lot of new controllers. You know, I've said my piece about the controllers. I'm not going to say anything more about the controllers. They all look really nice. I do have a bunch of controllers. But yeah, Design Lab, you know, expanding out to more countries. Then we had an ID at Xbox segment. Chris Charla came out there for the ID at Xbox birthday. They showed off some donuts that, what did you say, Gopher, when you saw the donuts?
I said they looked like some of the leftover Crackdown 3 donuts from E3.
On the wall.
Yeah, on the wall, yeah.
I didn't have one.
Yeah.
And then they showed a new a recut trailer that of games they showed up during E3. Some of them look really cool. You know, I did.
Was that all new? Because some of that look, I thought that the reel was good. Was that?
No, the reel was good, but a lot of those were the same games. Just like
was there any new ones though? Because I think
they didn't show Hello Neighbor at E3, did they? In that
yeah,
trailer?
I don't remember some. Like I'd have to watch it over, but there was some of the like the Robotron. I don't know if that was there. There was some weird looking game where the girl was kicking the face, but like it was shooting, but it looked pretty cool. I thought the reel was I would say that was starting to get the conference back on its feet a little. Well, yeah, conference or whatever.
It started ramping up a little bit, and I like ID at Xbox. I cover a lot of the ID at Xbox indie games on my own channel. In fact, I'll be dropping a review for Observer tomorrow, which came out last week. I finally finished it 10 hours. Spoiler, I really enjoyed the game, and so did Gopher. He played it at 2, so tune in tomorrow. I'm going to have a lot of videos dropped these next couple days. There's a lot of stuff to talk about for all this thing. So ID at Xbox, Chris Charlo, the montage. Sea of Thieves, they came out to talk about Sea of Thieves again, and they announced that crossplay is happening PC and Xbox, which wasn't announced before, but we kind of figured would happen. But it's still cool to say. I believe also the game's 4K 60, is it not, Tim? I could have sworn I saw that somewhere, that Sea of Thieves is going to be 4K 60 or something.
I don't know if it's going to be 4K 60. So somebody had asked me that too. I don't even know if it's 60 frames per second. It's a very good question. I would say that game, the way it looked on the trailer, is 4K 30. But you know, I thought that the cross-platform was a very welcome thing. I thought that was a little bit of brightness.
So Cypherman says 4K 60 on PC. That would make sense. That would probably be 4K 30 on console.
Right.
I played Sea of Thieves. I played Sea of Thieves with Phil, which was very, very fun. But I haven't played it since then, and I can't talk about, you know, obviously NDAs and whatnot. So game's coming out next year. We'll see how it is. But they are hyping that game a lot. That game gets a lot of attention from everybody at Xbox. Sea of Thieves definitely seems something they hype up a lot more than some of the other stuff. I think they have a lot of faith in that game, or at least they put a lot of money into it, so they feel like they have to kind of, you know, promote it more. Then we got one of the either the second coolest looking thing or info at this the conference or the live stream was the Minecraft. They showed a trailer for the Xbox One S limited edition Minecraft system, and I honestly thought that is an excellent looking console. Why wasn't that console available when the S launched last year? Because I kind of predicted that. Remember when they were going to the Slims? I said, watch, there'll be a Minecraft thing. Yeah. I was a year late on it, but here it is, Minecraft, coming out October 3rd. However, it's $400. It's only available at Target and Microsoft Store.
Oh.
So
is it 1 terabyte? I thought it would be
I believe it is a 1 terabyte system. Here's the thing. It's like you take one step forward and then you take 2 steps back. It's a great looking system. There are a lot of Minecraft lovers out there, right? And you would think a lot of people would go and pick this system up. But they price it at $400, and Minecraft is a kid's game, especially when there's already a Minecraft bundle you can get for $250. So I'm not really sure who this is priced for, because it's not priced to attract kids, right? Unless the kids are really bothering their parents for it. And then one of the biggest games in the world, if not the biggest game in the world right now, and you're only having it available at Target and the Microsoft Store? Not Amazon, not GameStop, not Best Buy, Target? Someone explain this to me.
See, when I saw the console, I really got excited for a second, because it kind of reminded me of like the glory days in the 360 when we had some of these really cool kind of custom looking systems, like the R2D2 system. Right. which in my opinion was so cool, and I was just like, oh man, please make these kind of like limited run consoles, get a comeback or something like that. But I don't know who the hell this is marketed to. I think it's marketed more to collectors like myself, who kind of look at this thing and go, geez, yeah, this is a pretty cool looking system. Because I mean, at $400, I mean, it is a kid's game. If a parent has the option to buy the cheaper version, what do you think they're going to do? And especially having it limited to 2 stores makes absolutely no sense to me. No sense.
Well, the only sense I can make is that it's a uniquely put together console. It's not something where they're easily distributable, and it looks like they just want to have a collector's amount. They probably, I wouldn't say they put it into a lot of these in development, but it's like kind of like you said, a collector's item more than the kids console. I mean, I don't agree with the price, but I do think it still will sell. I'm looking at it. The thing is gorgeous.
The thing is gorgeous.
The thing is gorgeous. It really is. So
now, it very well could be somebody bid for this, right? Like Target could have paid for rights to sell it or something,
right?
But I think it's a really cool system, and I think it's just a mistake to have it at one retailer, and I think it's too expensive. Considering you have another Minecraft bundle that you offer, you know what I'm saying?
For $100 more, you get the X.
Yeah,
that's what makes it ridiculous. That's the problem. That's the
problem. Yeah, I agree. I do think that in last year, this was a better step last year. It really would have done a lot better last year. But yeah, you get to the point where you're like, I'm at 400 for this. You get the beast at 500, and then you just disregard it. So I don't think that they made a ton of these. I think that these were they're going to be limited, very limited, and I don't know how limited the Project Scorpio is as well. But it looks like they're picking up these numbers, and I think that they'll probably meet their slew. Like, they're only making a certain amount of these. That's the only thing that can reason this, but the $3.99 hurts the whole idea, in my opinion.
Yeah. Then they showed off a really awesome looking trailer for Shadow of War. I thought maybe the best trailer next to that Assassin's Creed one. Really cool trailer. I'm really excited to play that game despite the microtransactions and stuff. And then they showed off the Xbox One X, Xbox One S Shadow of War bundle, which confused me because I was like, well, don't you want this for the X too? Like, and it's not custom, and I'm this. I mean, it's always
after the Minecraft console.
Though, like, it'll probably be 500, 249, which will sell, in my opinion.
I mean, it's always nice to get a free game with your system, but like, I mean, maybe they'll do game bundles next year for the X and stuff.
I think that's one of the holiday bundles for them. You figure that it's going to be one of them. I don't think they're going to have a Forza 7, but you're going to have that. That's going to be your cell will be that at 249, 500 gigabit. I do you think the S will be affected by the X? It's possible. I do think that the X has good footing right now.
See, but of the two of the game shown, like if I was gonna bundle it with a title that I had marketing rights for, essentially, I would have bundled it with Assassin's Creed. I think that would sell way more than Shadow of War. I don't know. That's just me. Shadow of War to me doesn't seem like the type of game that someone's going to be going out to buy an Xbox and it comes with Shadow of War. That kind of puts me over to buy the game. Assassin's Creed, on the other hand, maybe more so. But I think especially after that Minecraft console announcement, it looked kind of really lackluster by comparison. This kind of plain Jane console, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they should have put it. They should have did that segment before the custom console.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because at least you wouldn't be comparing it to this brand new cool looking Minecraft thing. So then we get a Cuphead trailer, and I know that was Tim's favorite segment. He got pumped up. He got some rush of blood through him. Everybody's favorite segment, right?
Yeah, well, I thought that was a big step up from where, I felt like we were at that point where we were low, and I felt like that really started. Honestly, I just felt I was watching the presenter. The girl was fantastic. She really spoke well. We were calling her the MVP, but she really presented the game well. But watching the game and the new gameplay that I'm pretty sure I've never seen before. That game looks like it's really good. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I do think it's coming in at the right time too. I think there's certain times where games can release and it's just not the right time. I feel with this game, it's hitting its stride at the right point. Really was impressed with what I saw, and just some of the pictures and some of the stuff I've seen after. The game is just gorgeous and it's hand drawn, frame by frame. They have jazz music that's original to the game. They really capture something different. They capture, for me, they capture when I used to go to Ground Round and I used to watch those cartoons. You used to before you would get a waiter, you would eat popcorn, and they'd have these cartoons, and they were fairly reminiscent. It looks like Cuphead. So for me, it holds that. For me, it looks like that, but it's really unique looking, hand drawn. That I don't think that's ever been done before, or if it's been done, it takes a lot to do that. But very impressive.
It was definitely the trailer of the show, and it was kind of hard for anything to top it after that. But and also for me, at least in terms of how it was presented, I've played the game twice now, and even though it's an extremely beautiful game, it's extremely fun to play. One of the issues that I've had with this game both times is that it is tough as nails. It is so difficult. The first time I played it, I couldn't get past this boss battle that they were demoing, and I was just getting frustrated, thinking like, Jesus, when this game comes out, I'm gonna be breaking controllers left and right. So when they started talking about how they're kind of gonna streamline the difficulty and kind of infinite lives and the checkpoints, my blood pressure started to go down a bit. I got a little more excited about the game coming out.
Right, I felt like she explained that well too, because that basically the game that you probably played is the one that you unlock to play after you completed on normal difficulty.
The new game plus that she talked
about. Yeah, exactly. So when you pass that, then you're going to play that game. Now that game is special in the fact that it makes you want to break your controllers. It makes you want to. It is a game that is going to say, hey, I challenge the gamer. I have a funny story about that. The game was so tough at E3 2015. One of the developers told my friend Paulie, he's a big Xbox guy. He said, "I'll give you $2,500 if you beat this boss." And now Paulie is he's really good. He's a really good gamer. If that guy was going to say to one guy to have somebody actually have a shot, that was the guy picked, and Paulie came very close. Paulie Rivera, if you ever see him on Twitter, he could verify the story, but he came very close, and he didn't do it. But I remember him coming out, and he was like, shit, that game is tough. He was excited because it was so tough. But he's also kind of pissed because he didn't get the 2,500 or whatever he would have got. But that's how hard it is that they were that confident telling any gamer on the floor, you're not going to beat this guy. And sure enough, he won out. But yeah, this is some game challenge difficulty that if you do it, it's going to be impressive.
Yeah, and I see Tony Yayo. He left a comment that you would appreciate, Gopher. He says, Anita Sarkeesian is stalking this chat and mad that you people are objectifying women.
Oh my god.
Gopher loves him some Anita Sarkeesian, so
Yeah.
that's why I pointed that out.
Love me some gamer girls. Love them.
Yeah. So, yeah, Cuphead's coming out end of September on Xbox, PC, Steam. It's going to be pretty cool, I think. They're looking into online co-op after launch because right now it only has couch co-op. Then you got another one of the gameplay trailers. We're coming here to the end of the show. Well, not this show, but like the Gamescom show. Surviving Mars, which looks kind of like.
I loved it. I love that because that reminded me of Populous, and that's what I've been asking for. The concept is. What I think that the concept is, from what I took from that, because I was actually excited about that. I know probably nobody else was, but like you're building this place on Mars and you build this whole world, but then there's like I think that there is this like you could actually go to war or you could blow up other people's worlds and stuff like that. So that game, I have to see more of that, but that impressed me.
See, I think it looked good too, but honestly, I think if they had just released that trailer on its own, like without the context of the conference, I think it would have served it better. Like when they finally showed that trailer, I was just thinking to myself, Jesus, this is like a really kind of like RTS heavy conference. I mean, they talked about Rise of Nations at the start. Then you had the Jurassic World kind of RTS game, Halo Wars expansion. Then you got Surviving Mars. Age of Empires is gonna be tomorrow, and I'm like they're really going all out on this RTS demographic. But I mean, on its own, the game looks cool. Game looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then finally, what everybody wanted, what Microsoft ransomed to the end of the show, Xbox One X, Project Scorpio Edition. They showed Major Nelson. They had a video of him unboxing it with those white gloves, like it was a 5,000-year-old painting or something, taking exquisite care of the system. And they showed off, like, it's got, I did a video about this, but it's got Project Scorpio written on the system. It's got a Project Scorpio written on the controller. It has like a textured top of the system. It comes with the stand, and then pre-orders went live. And I got mine at Amazon. I also went to GameStop and put my pre-order down, so I got it there. And it is sold out everywhere. It's Amazon sold out, Best Buy's sold out, Microsoft Store sold out. Everywhere you can pre-order this thing, it's sold out. So for everybody saying there was no interest in the X, well,
they were wrong.
I guess you're wrong, because it completely sold out. Now Microsoft has also did a way better job at promoting and marketing, I think, the X than Sony ever did with the Pro. So it's not really a surprise. We've been waiting for this system for a year. So everybody's got their pre-orders in, and we're waiting for November 7th to come along. Did you guys get your pre-orders all locked in and ready?
I did. I was within 35 seconds. I think I had it. Like I was just. I think I had something in my cart at Amazon. I think it was like tire caps, and I was so afraid to just delete that. I was just like, shit, I'm just gonna buy it. So I bought that, and I bought the Scorpio, and it's coming. So I'm all set. I'm gonna return my other S's probably, and an OG Xbox. I hear it's $150 for an S at GameStop, $100 for the OG. I know some people wanted $200, but I'm going to do that, and I'm probably going to get 2 more X's. Well, I want to get 3 X's when I'm all said and done. So I'm happy that I got the Scorpio. I was kind of nervous, but I kind of felt like my Twitter was from 3 to 5 received 150,000 impressions. So there were a lot of people like just I couldn't keep up with it. Like, oh, I'm buying it, or bought, where's the link? Where's this? So there's like a lot of hysteria. So I was kind of like nervous that I was going to get shut out, but it went down in 45 minutes on Amazon. And from what I'm take it from a good place that they kind of they might have hit above expectations. They've done well here.
Now the only thing we don't know is how many they had available for pre-order. You know, was it a small amount? Was it a huge amount? I mean, we won't really know until, I guess, maybe November or December. But
they're going to have more in stores. It's the same with the day one edition for the one. They had ones available for pre-order, and then they had ones that were available kind of first come, first serve.
It is #1 on Amazon bestsellers. So just checked. So yeah.
Well, I'm a bit heated over this because after the pre-orders opened, I was just kind of refreshing the Amazon Canada page. And it was nothing. It was nothing. Then the Scorpio, sorry, not the Scorpio, the 1X came up, but it wasn't the Scorpio edition. It said nothing about the Scorpio edition. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I'm just still kind of refreshing, waiting for this this Scorpio edition to kind of show up so I can pre-order it. If anyone in Canada has any idea, hook me up, message me at LoveboatGopher on Twitter if you have any idea where I can find this thing.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
I mean, I got mine. Everybody out there is, tweeting me, asking me if I got mine. I got my Scorpio. I'm all ready to roll. My Xbox One X. I got my PS4 Pro. So I got the best of the worlds, both worlds. Like I got all those multiplats. 'Cause I can't say exclusives this year because there basically are none. But then again, Sony doesn't have any exclusives this year holiday either. So either way, I have both systems, and I gladly play on both. But I do look. Here's the thing: they could have done this pre-order stuff at any point in time. I don't think they needed this live stream to do you know what I'm saying? I know this live stream was more to promote the X, which they didn't even really do. They didn't do side-by-side comparisons about why you need to do this and stuff. A lot of the, like we mentioned earlier, it's like it was E3 redone or E3 remastered or E3 recut, right? The only thing new was the Minecraft bundle, the pre-order stuff. There wasn't much here new, which we kind of figured because if anything that big, they would do at E3. So I kind of questioned the need of even doing this. Why not just have the pre-orders go live on a day and everybody would pre-order it anyways? You know what I'm saying?
I think it's
fanfare.
Yeah, it's all the it really is a part of that. It's just it is all the part of the hype machine and everything. But I think it's a real good sign that they sold out and they're on #1 on Amazon that quick. Because usually that takes a little time to gather up. So this is big for Xbox. They have to have this console do well. So I think that they're probably taking this with kid gloves. You have to deal with this. Sometimes people have accused Nintendo of controlling some of their stock, and sometimes if you can make something look appealing and that you can't find it, sometimes just it gets an impulsive buyer to buy, in my opinion. So
yeah. What do you guys think overall? What would you like? Because for me, it's it's way.
You're at a 3. To me,
it's here's the thing. I really enjoyed E3 this year, right? I really did. I thought they showed a lot of cool
Which
stuff.
I was surprised at, but yes, okay.
But honestly, last year when the PS4 Pro, because I kind of think that is the same as this almost to a certain degree. The PS4 Pro reveal thing last year was some of the most boring stuff I've ever seen, right? And then we get this, and it's boring because it was stuff we've already seen, and it was just an hour and a half long live stream to get to the pre-order information. So it felt like this was just designed only for marketing, So I'm watching this, and it's okay, Minecraft thing, cool. No new games, no Crackdown multiplayer to get people excited about that game again, even though they just delayed it. Assassin's Creed again. Shadow of War again. I like the best things was this, when Mikey Barr was out there talking about how you can transfer your content and the white theme, the rest of the stuff, and you know the Cuphead stuff, which you mentioned, which Anita Sarkeesian is gonna, you know, be mad at us for. But like they didn't bother talking. They didn't show anything new from Forza. It was just like, yeah, whatever. Sea of Thieves. Not. I mean, none of this stuff. Like they didn't need to have. I guess my point is like this conference didn't need to happen. Or this live stream just didn't need to happen, and that it just seemed kind of just a waste, you know. Like,
well, I think what's affecting your take is the overall climate with Xbox going into it. It's pretty much a shit show at this point, and I think that people, even yourself, maybe had a glimmer of hope of a savior, and the savior just wasn't there. But I think alternatively, I don't think they didn't stink up the joint. I think that they were just above where they just are average. But there are major question marks. But you know, he kind of pulled the rabbit out of his hat with the PUBG, in my opinion. But overall, I mean, for me, I mean, what would you give it? I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10.
You're gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. I gave their E3 an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed their E3. This I'd give a 4. A 4. Oh. I give maybe even less. How long I go for
sounds. I mean, you can't say you're a 5.
No, like, I mean it wasn't even average. It was below average. Like people gave Sony crap for basically showing nothing new at their E3 conference. It was just new trailers for their same games, and people bitched about that. And Microsoft basically did the same thing here.
Well, we didn't even get trailers,
and so it's like it's worse than Sony's. So it's like 4. I mean, Gopher, what do you think? All in all, like.
Well, I think this is kind of ironic because I think you were just scolding me the other night. You're going, why are you hating on Xbox, Gopher? Why are you hating on Xbox, Mr. 4 over here? Honestly, I would I would give it a 6. I think that the conference, it accomplished what it set out to do, regardless of whether or not it was entertaining. Without kind of the fanfare that was surrounding this announcement, you wouldn't have had all these major news outlets talking about the Xbox pre-orders going up. You wouldn't have had the countdown clock on the GameStop site. It did what it accomplished to do. A lot of things that I think were missed. I mean, for me, the big one was no PUBG release date, no solid release date for that. That kind of has me worried. Those guys have been really good with updates, but I want a release date. The no Crackdown 3, I think that also was a bit of a misstep. I mean, even if they had shown something, they could have, even if they had just recut another trailer and just shown that. The fact that they completely didn't even bring it up kind of had me a bit concerned. And just a lot of the recut trailers. But apart from that, solid 6. Not fantastic, but serviceable.
I don't know. Maybe I put more emphasis on like enjoyment and not being bored. Like there's nothing more I hate than a boring video game. So, like I was bored, and I hate being bored. So when I watched this trailer, it's like, okay, everything's. I mean, that's the problem. It's like even though I knew nothing was going to be there, even though I knew I expected nothing and I got nothing, it was still like, really? Like, you just delayed Crackdown 3. You're not going to at least maybe do something more? I don't know. Like, it kind of just like, maybe they just want to get 2017 out of the way. All right, 2017, sweeping you under the rug. Let's move on. Let's get to 2018. Hurry up, like.
They're really just, the whole thing's stemming on X. I mean, the whole thing is X. This is when they threw, what is it when you're all in? They're all in on X, in my opinion. And it's either going to make or break them. Initial signs, it's #1 in UK now. It's #1 in Amazon, Xbox. You have to watch the Amazon and see where it is. I think that they're going to do well in November. I've said that for a long time, so I'm sticking with it. I just feel like today was, unfortunately, something that they had to just like get by without it being a catastrophic mess. And they have to get out of that position where they go into these game shows and they're fucking scratching the fucking whatever they're scratching for any kind of content, they have to go into E3 next year, 2018. Phil has to come with the right amount of content, the right amount of dedication, the right amount of ability to show its fans that they are dedicated to games. If they could do that, they're going to be fine. If X doesn't sell and it goes south, then you might be looking at a Steam model. So I mean, I just feel like in the climate of this 2017 was just an extremely harsh year, and they might have maybe finally heading to with light at the end of the tunnel with a November 7th, a November 7th X release, and hopefully it does well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I know we're on a little bit late. We talked about everything, so we're gonna be wrapping up the show here. Game of Thrones is on. I know that. I had a buddy, DOA. He texted me. He's like, "Game of Thrones is on, man. Come on." So we had like over 400. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Helps out the channel. Subscribe, right? You guys subscribe to the channel too if you're new. Gopher, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Now, guys, me go for a DOA have been talking about maybe expanding the channel, and we were actually considering doing movie reviews. I don't know if anybody wants to do that, but me, DOA, and Gopher will be.
I love that.
We're gonna go see. We're gonna go see it on Thursday when it comes out, and then we're gonna review it and do a spoiler thing. So hopefully everybody takes to the idea of doing movie reviews because we like to talk. And Gopher has a freaking master's in film theory.
Oh, I love talking. That's one thing. I've talked to Gopher freaking 5 o'clock in the morning till 7 a.m. just about movies, and we were just asking about certain movies, and and I think we had other people in that were some guy, I think Joe, and he was.
Oh yeah, Joe. Joe's also a movie guy. He's also got
a but they know their shit. So for me, that's good news because I'll definitely watch that. I'm a big movie buff. Right now, I'm debating on Dunkirk, but I'm looking forward to that. And what are you saying? It's coming out Thursday?
Yeah. It comes out September 8th, so we're gonna go see it, and then we're gonna see if anybody wants, if people want to, the content on the channel. If they do, then we'll do more. If we don't, then they don't. But thanks for coming on, Gopher. Give a shout out to where anybody can find you if you want that.
Well, I don't have a YouTube channel to shill or anything, but if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's @LoveboatGopher. Look me up.
Gopher. And everybody knows my other guest tonight, my good friend, guy I did TXR podcast with for such a long time. I talk to him almost every single day, whether DM or phone or whatever. My buddy, the one and only Beastfire Tim Dog. Thanks for coming on, man.
And I tell Rand, I just honestly, more than the podcast, I just love hearing your perspective and talking to you about this stuff. We do it on Xbox, but it's kind of fun when we do it for the fans, and this is a pleasure. And I just it brings back memories. But you still got your stuff going. I felt like we got a good show, and a lot of fun. And there's 3 guys, and we handled it. So
that's right. I got a lot on my plate this week. I got the Observer review. I'm playing through Agents of Mayhem for review. Uncharted 4. That stuff will all be up whenever I can actually get it up. So I appreciate it. I thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. That's going to be the end of the show. Make sure you subscribe and subscribe for the channel, like the video, and check out tomorrow. There'll be a bunch of videos going up talking about all this stuff. So thanks everybody for watching, and we will see everybody next time. Later, guys.